and identifying some common errors and coming up with some really easy fixes. Grace has been nice enough to join us here. So what we're going to do is we're going to talk really quickly about a couple of things, and we'll produce a little video series about identifying different limitations and then some quick fixes for it. Okay. So one thing that we always need to keep in mind is our midline stabilization, right? So that is one thing that, like, throughout CrossFit, it never breaks. So when we start looking at an athlete, we go, gosh, like maybe their back's grounding. Well, is their back grounding because of a mobility problem, or is it a stability problem? So when we really think about the squat, let's get into like three main areas. Is it a mobility restriction of the hip? Is it a mobility restriction of their ankle or knee? Or is it a motor control problem? Or is it all three? So let's see how we can start breaking this down. So Grace, so you could give me 2 squats facing Eddie. And we'll just take a look here. So what you got? Good. And then face me. 2 more, please. Good. Okay. So I chose Grace because she's got overall like a good starting place for a squat, but we could definitely get her down a little deeper. We can try to keep that midline a little bit more stable. We can maybe even mess around with her position a little bit. Okay. One quick, easy assessment that I really like is if we just try to figure out, is it a hip, is it an ankle problem? Gosh, I don't know where to start. Great, take their ankles out of it. If we put them up on a 2x4 or maybe like a stack of like a 10-pound rubber plate, 15-pound rubber plate, something like that, just it takes the ankles out of it, allows them to have a little more freedom of movement. If that cleans her up amazingly, rally the ankles. Okay, so let's take a look. Let's put her up on this 2x4 and go ahead and everything else stay the same. All right, and give me that same squat. And again. Pretty good. Okay, so she got significantly deeper, right? But we lost that midline a little bit. That little butt wing going under. We already took that 2x4 and took her ankles out of it. She was able to get to a lot more depth. So again, is there an ankle component? Probably. Is there a hip component? Yeah, probably. Is there a little bit of a motor control problem, or component? Probably. So let's just address all of them. But let's do a quick little screening assessment on her ankle. So one thing that it's really important to note is we need a lot of ankle dorsiflexion to squat properly. That is where my knee is able to come forward. Now, I know you guys are all going to stop me and say, don't let the knees come forward at the end of the foot. Great, fine. But if we attempt to keep our knee directly over our ankle and squat with a vertical shin, it's going to be really hard for a lot of us to get into a deep squat. We need that knee to translate forward a little bit. We want to load the hips, but it's okay that that knee drifts forward a little bit. It's a normal squat. It's a good position. Watch babies. They do it all the time. They're fine. Okay, go ahead and come forward for me. I'm going to take your left foot, and you're going to put your toe right here for me. And I want you to keep that heel on the ground and drive that knee forward for me. Oh, so close. And if she really fights for it, she can get it. But that's not quite what I want. I want it to be very, very easy for her. Also, that was her knee coming forward and in. This doesn't sound like the cue that we want. So in order for her to get the deep range that we want, she has to go to that in position, which is going to put her knee into that valgus, which is why we always say knees out. We don't want your knees coming. We want them going out. So if I actually ask you not to go straight ahead, try to see if you can tap it out, how limited are we? Yeah, we're a good inch plus away. Okay, try the other one for me. And drive forward. Oh, maybe. So again, we're limited on both sides. So again, we took her ankles out of it. Her squat depth improved significantly. We just checked her. Doesn't quite have the ankle range that we want to see. I'd like to see that knee comfortably hit forward and slightly outside of that foot. So we'll give her a couple things to work on that. Okay, so now let's turn our attention to her ankles. So first thing I want to do is, again, let's get rid of some of that superficial tissue. You can hit the bottom of your foot, you can hit that Achilles region, that gaspar soleus, anything that's kind of back here, underneath here, can restrict that ankle range of motion. So from a superficial tissue standpoint, this double and cross ball works great. The Achilles kind of sits right in between the little valley there, and it allows that ball to stay put. She can roll back and forth. She can even turn that foot in and hit the inside a little bit, which is usually more tender than the outside. But again, I don't care. It's whatever works for her, it's whatever works for you. Okay, Grace, why don't you cross that left foot over the right and see if you need more pressure. Yeah, okay, that's a great way to do it. Always do this by putting tension on the system too. So if I just do this here, I'm mashing some of this tissue that isn't really on stretch. It might work. Probably gonna be more effective if we're trying to create a true tissue length and breaking stuff up. Put it where it tightens up and then hit it. It's probably gonna be better. So by pulling those toes towards you, definitely puts more tension on there. Great, so we do 30 seconds to a minute on each side. And then let's go address the joint. So go ahead and step into that band just above your ankle. Yep, and then kick it all the way forward. I want you way out here, lots of tension. Lots of tension. Lots. All right, there you go. And then take a knee. Good. So now we did that little test against the box, right? So I'm going to have her drive this, kind of drive it this way. Hips stay that way. Foot stays pointing forward. Knee and femur drive it outside like that. And this is tricky. What I like to do too is even put my hands here and tend to think about pushing down and driving that knee out. That's going in. So your hips have to go that way. Knee come towards me. There we go. How about it? Difference. Okay. If we truly want that knee out position when we squat, we have to mobilize it in that direction. So if I allow her to drive it in, again, that's not where I want her knee. I want her knee out here, so I got to mobilize it in that direction. Move that just a little bit. Keep that heel down. Keep that heel down. Stay honest here. Don't cheat. No cheating. Cheating doesn't improve your squat. Great. So same thing now. You also might need a friend to keep you honest. Okay. Great. So we do that for same thing, about 30 seconds to a minute on each side.